Good afternoon, or actually, I don't know when you'll officially observe this video, but I kind of wanted to put something together as a quick video. I've never really done this before. It hadn't really crossed my mind, but as I was going through the payout process, I kind of wanted everyone to kind of fully better understand what I do to determine your payouts each 9 weeks. So what I've done is I've pared down an actual student roster, so some of these students' names you might recognize, but replaced it with a history teacher, and then it's obviously it's not going to be their full roster. So, anyways, I don't think I'm eroding any laws or rules here, but I wanted to put together a quick sample video of kind of the reports we pull, what we see, and then how I utilize that to make a determination on your payouts, and then we go back and forth. And this hasn't come up, it hasn't been an issue, but I want you to fully understand what I do so that you understand how I get the number I come up with, and then sometimes the back and forth, why there's potentially misses or issues. With Genius, it was a lot different because one of these columns would be a grade readout, a percentage. So I could somewhat tell if a student had a grade in the class at all. And with that grade, I could make the determination based on either their final grade or at the quarter point if they had actually even at least started your class. It was a little bit more detailed. It was a lot easier and a lot better for me to make determinations based on how we do the payouts. With Skyward, it's a little bit differently, and as you recall from this first semester, you had to be a little bit more involved in the process. Now, summer school is a lot easier because there's only one payout. You have all summer and then you get paid out, so it's either a full amount or 50 for those who just started or nothing if they never started. It's pretty easy. But during the rest of the school year with extensions and students working for the full 18 to 20 week period, they finish or work at various rates. It can get a little bit confusing. So what I've done is, as you can see down here, I've pulled the first 9 weeks and run the roster. So what I do is I have Amanda, my secretary, pull a report out of Skyward for a specific teacher. This is sample teacher. So we have pulled sample teachers quarter one grades. And so Skyward in the report, it actually looks very similar to this without all these numbers. I manually put in all these numbers. There are a few other columns like codes and that kind. I delete everything I don't want to look at to pare the spreadsheet down as much as possible. And so just assume I've deleted everything. And then what I look for quarter one, if you recall, what I'm looking for is, did you enter the $ for that quarter one grade, or did you enter the 2 grades, meaning they finish the class? So the kind of kids you could have are those that never started, so 0, and the $ for that quarter one grade. It does not go on the transcript, but it's the code from you to me that the student started that class by this payout. So this would have been an example of what took place last October during our fall break period for me to do your payout. So these 2 students were the 50, 50, 50. All of these never started. We do have one here. It looks like John Gunst started and finished within the first 9 weeks. And because there's a grade in both places, I would put the full 125. And then the total at the bottom, I just do a sum function at the top. The recordings, I don't have the screen set to look at the function options, but I do function it. I don't add it myself. So just FYI, when it's only 13 rows, it's not that big of a deal, but if you've got 150 students, it becomes a much tougher sequence. So that's the first 9 weeks. That was how we conducted the payout in October. I send you a copy of this. We go back and forth, whether it's verifiable or we need to look at, say, Elise Flat maybe potentially started. I can go in and check in the hub to make sure indeed she did, check the gradebook, and then enter a 50 here. So again, that's how we do the first 9 weeks payout in October prior to fall break, and then we'll do it this upcoming April for spring break. So now what just happened through this past December is we pull a second report with the SM1 grades. It's going to look the same. I delete all the columns I don't want, except now these should all be filled in. If you'll notice, from the first 9 weeks, there was 13 teachers, well, actually 12 teachers, 13 rows. This one only goes to 12 or 11 teachers. I've removed the Portia Knoll, and I'll explain why she was line number 12 here. Over here, I've pulled her way out and highlighted her, and I'll explain that in a minute. So based on the payout scenarios, what we're looking at is, again, that SM1 grade. These do get transcripted for students, and so this is how I conducted the last 9 weeks payout, or the semester payout. So Aaron Bowman had an F entered, and I put 0. The reason being, it appears Aaron never started and you failed the student because they never finished the course but were enrolled all semester, and a 0. This is one I cannot easily tell that may have started the class. So maybe Aaron did start after October, but I can't tell that. We'll talk more about that later. Haley Cecil appears to have been paid that first 9 weeks in October, finished the class with an A-, therefore you are owed $75. Cree Coakley, same thing. Crystal Crouch never started the first 9 weeks, so you were not paid. If we go back, Crystal Crouch is a 0. And that semester, she was given an F. But you respond to me saying, well, she did start after October and did 4 assignments. So I owe you the 50 for her starting, but she didn't finish the class, so that's all you would receive. Cameron Erskine Pike and Elise Flatt appear to have not started in the quarter 1, but then finished. So the last 9 weeks they finished all of the coursework, so this payout I would owe you the full 125. After reviewing the past, indeed you were not paid for her. Going back, Austin Fox, the 75, Alexis Frost on the opposite side failed, so it appears she was paid. The teacher appears paid for Alexis Frost and was at the 50, but then she got an F, so why am I giving 75? Well, that student, per your information, would have told me she finished, but she did fail the final exam and never retook it. And so, therefore, I finished you with the 75. Oh, this is rare. I don't see this very often, but I do. And again, I won't know unless you email me back, because all I'm seeing is you were paid and then an F. Chances are I'm putting a paid here, like the next column. So anyways, this would be a back and forth similar to this one. And then moving on, John Gunst, A and A. That signals to me he finished that first 9 weeks, so I put paid, no money owed. After reviewing, John did indeed finish that first 9 weeks. Grant Jefferson, another scenario where it's paid the 50 first 9 weeks but finished. Last one is Gabriel Michael. Money, first 9 weeks, never finished the course, so I simply put paid. I do again the sum add, and that is what is owed. Now, the yellow Portia Knoll, what we saw from Skyward this semester at the end is Portia Knoll was on your roster for the first 9 weeks, started the class, and you were paid $50. However, by the end of the semester, Portia Knoll was withdrawn. You wouldn't see her on your roster. This was a potential spot for a hole, because if Portia hadn't started that first 9 weeks, but did October 15th start your class and then was withdrawn November 1st, I would not have paid you the 50. So it's one of those where we encourage you to keep accurate records of your students, and I hopefully am showing you why it's important. There is a pitfall potentially of a student once withdrawn for me to see whether they've actually started your course or not. If they finish, they're going to remain on there. It's more of those that start and then disappear and are ended up being withdrawn. So again, pay attention to your records. We're all learning a new home, but I didn't want it to be a mystery as to how I do the payouts every 9 weeks. So if you have any questions or concerns, you can see not only what I see, but how I see it and how I come up with the numbers I come up with. And then hopefully you can understand a little better how sometimes we don't match initially. So anyways, as always, if you have questions, don't hesitate to contact me via email, phone call, whatever, I stop by the office, but hopefully you understand a little bit more of the method to my madness. Thanks. I hope it wasn't too painful to watch. As you know, obviously it's not like watching a movie, but next time I'll try to make it a better cinematic experience. Thanks all, and good luck out there.